Following the death of her husband, Kyle Pratt, an aviation engineer, prepares to take a trip from Berlin, where her husband died, to New York, her hometown, along with her husband David's corpse. The day prior, she visits her husband's lifeless body one last time. Given a moment alone with him, she reminisces about their good old days. The attendant eventually asks her to put in her code. Kyle and her daughter, Julie, share a bed and discuss their future in New York. However, she notices someone by the window, but when she checks, no one is there. The next day, as they prepare to leave home, Julia shares her reluctance to leave, but she reassures her that everything will be fine and promises to support her. They eventually arrive at the airport, and as Kylie attempts to check in, she can't find Julia. She looks around the airport and screams for her. She's frightened, but she eventually locates the young girl, and Julia explains she's hungry and just wants to eat. Kylie warns her never to walk away from her side like that because it makes her nervous. After eating, they head to the plane, where Kylie informs Julia she built the plane and that it is the first time anyone is boarding the plane. They board the plane first, select their seats, and stow their belongings. As time passes, other passengers, including Air Marshal Carson, join them on board, with Carson sitting nearby. Before the plane moves, they wet it with soapy water, and Julia looks toward the window, and she draws a love sign by the window for her mother. Kylie leaves her seat and decides to sit at the back of the plane to take a short break. She checks on her child after that. However, she notices Julia isn't around, so she questions Carson about her whereabouts. Carson denies seeing the girl and says he doesn't know where she could have gone. Kyle takes it upon herself to search the plane, and she opens every restroom to look for her daughter. She then asks the flight attendants if they have seen her. One of them suggests seeing a child in the lounge, but when Kyle checks, there's no sign of her daughter. She tells anyone who'll listen about Julia and that she is searching for a 6-year-old girl with a teddy bear. They all deny seeing anyone who resembles her daughter, deepening her concern. Moments later, she gets more anxious, and she calls the flight attendants to help her with her search. However, they do not prove to be productive in any way. This gets her more concerned. She eventually finds Julia's teddy under her blanket, which raises concern since Julia never separates from her teddy. She approaches the flight attendants, listing all the plane's compartments, including the holds, and asking for their assistance in finding her daughter. Their head offers to contact the pilot of the plane, and they announce the missing child. One of the flight attendants, Stephanie, tries to speak with her to calm her down, and she keeps asking about Kyle's work and how she knows so much about planes. Stephanie gets an airport call, and Kylie tags along. After Kylie watches Stephanie's displeasure upon hearing the message, Stephanie informs him that the airport's record room has no information about a child named Julia on the plane. This news gets Kylie in complete disbelief and wonders if there is any miscommunication. She claims her daughter came into the plane with her, and she is ready to prove that with their boarding ticket. She leaves for her seat to bring the ticket, but she realizes Julia's boarding pass is missing. She also tries to check for Julia's bag and realizes her bag is missing. She concludes that Julia has been kidnapped, since there's no way Julia can reach where the bag is. She insists an adult is involved and asks to see the captain. She goes to knock on the door of the captain's room, causing Carson to hold her. The captain, Marcus Rich, eventually attends to her, and he asks all the flight attendants if there is anyone on the plane who has seen the girl. They claim no one has seen the girl, and there is even proof that she isn't on the plane. Kylie insists she's telling the truth, so Marcus asks her if she's been drinking. She confesses that she hasn't drunk on the plane, but she's on a sleeping dose and also a prescription for anxiety, which she got a week ago after her husband died. She narrates that her husband jumped off their building, and she is sure he didn't commit suicide, and he most likely fell off the building, so both she and her daughter are going through a lot. Marcus orders for the search of the entire plane, and as Kylie tries to walk toward the plane to search, Carson keeps following her. He claims the protection of the plane lies in her hand, and such protection includes stopping a delusional passenger from injuring another person. After a futile search, Kylie pleads that they search the hold, and Marcus agrees. He, however, insists that if Julia isn't found there, then he will allow Carson to hold Kylie. As Kylie continues her search, she sees a familiar face, but she can't pinpoint where she knew the person from. She approaches the man and asks if they know each other before, and the man jokingly replies to her that if it means that she has passed beside him about 5 times, then yes, since she can't pinpoint where she knew him from. She leaves him. She returns to Marcus to complain about not seeing her child. This causes Marcus to remind her that there are several other passengers on the plane, and they aren't receiving the attention they deserve because all the attendants are looking for a child, which they all believe isn't on board. At that moment, Stephanie calls for Marcus, and Marcus asks Carson to take care of Kylie. Kylie recalls where she had seen the Arab man she recognized earlier, and she goes to him, accusing him of kidnapping her child. The man insists he doesn't know her before, but she claims she saw the man behind Julia's window the night before, and the man was staring at her house. The man proves his alibi by showing his hotel bills from the night before, but Kylie attacks him. Carson drags her away, and she also tries to beg him so he can arrest the Arab man. In response, Carson tells her he can understand why her husband committed suicide, because after a few hours with her, he feels like jumping off too. Soon after, an announcement is given to allow the passengers to leave their seats, signifying the search is over. This gets Kylie anxious again, and she looks for Marcus. He tells her they have found out her daughter is dead, and she died at the same time as her husband, and that they confirmed from the hospital the corpse was sent from. She insists her daughter is alive, and Julia wasn't even home when David died. In complete disbelief, she walks away. She eventually knocks herself and faints. When she wakes, Carson brings a therapist, Lisa, to console her. Meanwhile, she sees the love shape Julia has drawn on the plane, confirming that there is definitely something going on. She then asks to visit the bathroom while Carson waits outside. She immediately breaks and jumps from the bathroom to the engine room, where she removes some wires to distract the crew. She manages to turn off the lights and causes a commotion among the passengers. She takes this chance to run away and goes to where her husband's corpse is while frantically calling for Julia. She unlocks the coffin hoping to find Julia in it, but she isn't there. Carson arrives soon after and takes her away. He also informs her they will make an emergency landing, and he takes her to her seat. As they prepare for landing, he asks Stephanie to sit beside her, and he goes to David's coffin. He releases the bombs he has hidden there, and then he goes to where he had kept Julia. He goes to Marcus and reveals that Kylie had hijacked the plane, and she is requesting for $59 million to be sent to an account. He advises Marcus to send it and deboard the plane. When he returns, he meets Stephanie, who insists Kylie is figuring them out. They arrive at the departure, and all the passengers come down. As Marcus comes down with his crew, Kylie tries to talk to him, but he tells her they have transferred the money and left the car as she asked, so she should stop lying about a missing child. She realizes what is wrong, so she calls for Carson to remain on the plane. It is revealed that it is all Carson's plan to hijack the plane, and for him to twist the truth at that instance, he returns to the plane with Kylie. Kylie immediately knocks him with a fire extinguisher as soon as the door closes. After handcuffing him, she finds and takes the remote igniter from his pocket. Soon, Stephanie arrives and helps him get up as he regains consciousness. He chases Kylie while trying to shoot her with his gun. She hides in one of the rooms and locks it. Carson confesses to her, admitting he killed her husband because he required a coffin to hide the explosives, and someone familiar with the plane, making her the perfect choice. She then hides through the compartments of the plane, and she sees the guilt-ridden Stephanie. She then knocks Stephanie off. Panic, Stephanie flees after that. Kylie continues searching and eventually finds Julia unconscious and sees there are explosives around her. She immediately takes Julia away. Carson soon catches up. He continues to reveal the details of his plan while entering into the danger area he has previously set. Kylie takes this chance to escape. She shuts the door, hides in another bomb-proof compartment, and blows the plane with Carson in it. The explosion causes a shock among the people outside. Kylie eventually comes out of the plane with her child in her hand, and everyone, including Marcus, realizes she wasn't delusional. The following day, Marcus apologizes to Kylie for his skepticism. Stephanie was seen being arrested, and the morgue director was also detained. She takes Julia through the crowd, and they are shown guilty for not believing her. She arrives at their car, and Julia asks her if they are already at their destination. In the final scene, the Arabic man helps her with her bag as a sign of forgiveness and respect. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a like to help the channel out, also leave a comment if you'd like us to recap your favorite movie. Thanks for watching.